Hey y'all, welcome back to part 4 of Scoring the Picture. This series has been all about applying these 5 principles to the film The Alchemists. Now if you stick around to the end, I have a special surprise for you. You're not going to want to miss it. We've already gone over steps 1, 2, and 3. This week we're focusing on step 4, which is to use repetition in your writing for film music. And before I go any further, this is where it's important to rely back on step 2, which was to make sure you had concrete, memorable themes or motifs that you can use for step 4. All right, let's go. So how exactly do you use repetition within your themes? Well, the key thing is to not just repeat your themes over and over in the same exact way. You still want your themes or your motives to actually correspond with what's happening on screen. Here are a few ways to present your themes using variation. You can shorten your theme by using specific parts of your thematic material. It's important that if you do shorten your thematic material and apply it to a scene, you want to try to use the intervals or the most important parts of that theme that are most recognizable. So maybe if you have an interval leap, maybe that's the interval that you want to focus on within your cue. Here's an example of me using this idea for the Apprentice theme. So first I'm going to play you the most important portion of the Apprentice theme in a piano sketch. Then I'm going to really specifically highlight the melody alone, and then I'm going to show you how I used it in context of another cue. This is the most important interval / melodic line of the Apprentice theme. Now here's that same thematic material applied to a more comedic part of the film. Another way to vary your theme is to change up the harmony. Now, this goes without saying, but when you do change up the harmony, you want to change up the harmony in a way that's going to best support the visuals with what you're working on. So in this example, I'm going to show you the Apprentice theme's harmony is actually altered in a way that supports this sad kind of moment in the film for The Apprentice. Check this out. Here are a few more ways that you can vary your theme or a motive which is a part of your theme. Now, this list is not the end-all be-all, but it should help. Here it is. Oh, and remember this one thing. At the end of the day, no matter what it is you're doing, when you're introducing repetition or any of these 4 steps, it's always important to focus on supporting the film. Okay, now here's a list. Okay, so one thing you can do for sure is change the key signature. That means if your theme is originally in the key of D, maybe you can go to the key of A. I don't know. Again, make sure it supports the film. You can move the melody around. Move it up if you want to create a sense of urgency, or move it down if you want to maybe make things feel slow and steady, dramatic. You can vary it up with the speed. Maybe it can be slower in certain parts or faster in certain parts. It's up to you. I take that back. It's not up to you. It's up to the picture. Okay, back to the list. You can vary it up with the dynamics. Maybe a part of the film, things are a little bit quieter, so you can go ahead and make sure you have a lower dynamic. Or things are really great, big, epic, and so you need to have a monstrous, adventurous kind of sounding theme. There would be the perfect time and appropriate time to have the theme much, much more in your face. You can change the rhythmic values of a specific part of a theme. One really interesting thing you could do is introduce some level of bitonality or polytonality within your music. Again, only when it's appropriate and it supports the film. Last but not least, probably the most important thing on this list is to consider the different ways that you can orchestrate your thematic material. Now, don't be alarmed when I say orchestration, okay? Orchestration could be applied to like a symphonic orchestra, the different families, the strings, brass, percussion, woodwinds, but it also means that you can apply your theme to, let's say, a really cool electric guitar sound, or maybe some type of synth instrument. It's all how you want to apply it. But again, it must support the film. All right, that's it for part 4. Wait, actually, there's one more thing I really need to tell you. Listen carefully. Okay, so this is my appeal to you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, okay? If you're a film composer or TV composer, whatever the case may be, you're learning like I'm learning, I want to appeal to you that you should never skip step 2, which is to write memorable motifs or themes before you start writing for your entire film. And I'm explaining to you why it's super important that you don't skip that step. The most important reason, in my opinion, is that when you are writing music for film or for any kind of project, the melodies, the themes that you create are the foundations that you can use throughout the project. So what that does is really allows you to be more efficient with your time, be more intentional with how you approach a cue, and it just allows it to be a lot more cohesiveness musically within your project. When you're working on a film or any project, whether it's a game, film, TV, whatever, the worst thing you could do is run out of ideas. Like, that doesn't even make sense in the grand scheme of things when you actually set yourself up well with having a bank of themes. And when I say themes, I don't necessarily mean just a melody. I mean, if you listen to more modern composers, you can hear that themes aren't always melodies. Sometimes there's just a sound. Like for me, I think of Daniel Pemberton's score for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Like there was one specific theme I could think of, like off the bat, that's mainly just a crazy synth thing that's always attributed to some significant event that happens in the film. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But there you have an example where I'm not specifically mean orchestra when I say orchestration. It can mean that, but it doesn't have to. Again, all these tips are specifically subjective to your film project or game project or whatever it is you're working on. Okay, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope you learned something with this. As promised, thanks for sticking around. For those of you who did stick around, you're going to get to hear right now some variations of my themes for this film, The Alchemists. Peace out.